Yesterday, I came home from work to find my entire family watching the Texas legislature holding session. I was confused as to why this was happening. My brother, the journalist, pulled out an iPhone to take notes on an important bill, and I sat on the edge of my seat hoping a budget bill for education would turn out in favor of my having a job. You know, Julia, with all the stresses we're experiencing now, like finishing school and trying to find jobs, it's hard to imagine times when people could not freely watch the lawmaking process that regulated their lives. It's even harder to imagine that there are people who live today without that freedom. It's difficult to remember that my brother, the journalist, in another time or another place, might have hesitated to write his thoughts about our state government, for fear of some kind of sinister retribution perpetrated by the very body of people claiming to protect us with the laws they pass. It's difficult to remember that my father, the writer, in another time or another place, might not have had the opportunity to tell the stories of the painful, inequitable past of the same institution for which he works today. Because in another time or another place, that public university might not have been as open and sincere about the sins of the past. Perhaps it's difficult to remember because we've never lived without these freedoms. Our classmates have always been black, white, Latin, Arab, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, and atheist, traditional and non-traditional, stereotypical and alternative. And you and I never even thought that that was out of the ordinary, because we remember no other way of being. Perhaps it's difficult to remember because those memories are simply too difficult. And yet, I know that if my grandparents were still around, they would tell me those stories with the same unflinching courage with which they faced a world full of poverty, racism, destruction, and war. For whatever reason it is difficult to remember the less desirable times or places we could have lived, my point is that we still have to remember. It's important to remember that the past is not past, and if we fail to remember it and the people who moved it forward, then we are no longer capable of moving ourselves forward. And in a way, I think the best, perhaps the only way to memorialize the dead is to honor the living, those who came after them in pursuit of the same noble dreams. Julia, I'll see you later.